What if I told you that you've been playing Doug wrong this entire time? This video features the best tips and tricks to help you play the inflatable dinosaur, Doug. Alright, so to start up this guy, let's gonna talk about Doug's main attack, Snack Attack. Similar to Jackie, Doug damages all enemies in a radius around him, including enemies behind walls. However, if the allies are in Doug's radius, it instead heals them for health, which is 50% of the damage dealt to an enemy. The damage or healing is dealt immediately without any travel time, but Doug has a mediocre speed and attack cooldown. There is no direction of travel to this attack, so aiming is not required, though aiming could be used to show you the area of effect. The heal does not scale with buffs or debuffs. Now with Doug and his main attacks, you need to try and hit your teammates or enemies when they're behind walls. One of the great things about Doug's main attacks is the fact that he can hit his shots through walls. With this mechanic, he can counter throwers or even heal his own teammates through walls, which can be clutch to keeping them alive. This will also keep the enemies on their toes as they know to stay away from walls whenever facing Doug. Now before you go into a fight and engage with your target, I recommend saving up all the ammo that you can. Since Doug's reload speed is considered normal and his range is short, you can't afford to be wasting your ammo before actually engaging with the enemy. You want to have all 3 bars of ammo to give you the best chance possible to burst down the enemy, especially if you don't have your supercharged yet. Now with Doug having a very short attack range, you need to be using walls and bushes to get closer to the enemies. As I previously stated, with Doug having a short attack range, you need to be using walls, obstacles, and bushes to sneak up and get closer to your target. If you run towards the enemies out in the open, you'll probably end up feeding them their supers and basically suiciding in the long run. Use the map around you strategically and play on maps that cater to Doug as much as possible. Now to make the most out of every single one of your main attacks, try to attack multiple teammates, multiple enemies, or a combination of all of them. If you can third party in a fight that's happening during the match, you can probably get some huge value by dealing damage to the enemy and healing up your teammate at the same time. The more people that are fighting in a single area, the more value you'll be getting and providing for your team to either help them get the kill or keeping them alive. Now above all, you need to be remembering that Doug is considered a support brawler. It's funny because people still treat Doug like he's a tank due to him having 10,000 health at max level, which is not common for the traditional support brawler. However, with the way Doug's kit works, you definitely need to be prioritizing keeping your teammates alive as much as you can. His main attacks and supers when used correctly can be extremely toxic to deal with, so make sure to execute these tips. But okay, the next thing I do want to talk about before his super, because it kind of relates to his super, is going to be the new trait that he has. With this trait, Doug can charge his super by healing himself and his allies. The super charge per heal on an ally is proportional to the healing done. What I mean by this is that healing an ally gives 1.2 times the amount of supercharge as damaging an enemy for the same amount. Remember, Doug's fast food star power does not charge his super, but his self-service star power will. Now a tip that I can give you guys about this trait is to make sure that you are staying near your teammates all the time to help you charge up your super. This is something that's new to Doug's kit that has definitely contributed to his rise in the meta. Being able to charge up his super by healing up his teammates and Doug himself, I mean, that is a great buff. It is going to make it easier to chain supers and provide Doug and his teammates more opportunities to escape death by getting more Doug supers. Now I kind of stated it a little bit in the trait's description, but you need to be combining this trait with Doug's self-service star power. I'll definitely go over Doug's self-service star power a little bit more in depth later in the video, but for those of you guys that don't know, this star power will also heal Doug depending on how much damage he deals to the enemies. So as you can imagine, this star power is going to only make his supercharger even faster, mostly because the more damage he is dealing, the more Doug will be healing thanks to this star power. But okay, that's going to be it for his main attack and trait. Let's go to talk about his super now, which is called Second Serving. Doug shoots out a hot dog that can pass through walls and home in on allies, granting a friendly brawler with a hot dog buff. If the brawler is defeated with the hot dog, they will revive after a 2-second delay with no temporary invincibility. The player can give teammates the hot dog by aiming the super or give it to Doug by auto-aiming it. The hot dog automatically despawns if it's not used for 5 seconds. Now probably one of the most useful times you can use the super is on yourself when you're literally right about to die. If you can activate your super when you know you're about to die, that is the best time to surprise the enemies and guarantee the odds of your super actually working. This super basically gives you a second chance to go with the enemies and hopefully they are totally drained of their ammo after defeating you for the first time. And another way you can use your super is of course using it onto your teammates when they are about to die. Same thing applies to your teammates as far as when to use your super onto them. You can give your teammates a chance to respawn right where they died, and hopefully they'll continue to pressure the enemies back, or better yet, get a kill. It might catch your teammates off guard at first, but as long as they don't immediately die after respawning, you've done a good job supporting them to the best of your ability. Now one of the cons of using Doug's super is activating it too early and the enemies purposely not killing you. Something that experienced players will take advantage of is to lower down whoever has Doug's super active as low as possible and then wait until the hot dog goes away. That way, as soon as the hot dog disappears, the enemy will be bursted down easily and have to respawn back in their team spawn. So make sure that if you're using Doug, don't activate your super too early, especially against experienced players. Now, definitely one of the best parts about Doug's super is that you don't even have to use it, and it's gonna probably cause pressure onto the enemy team automatically. When aiming to defeat a specific enemy or group of enemies, Doug can simply use his super and charge towards the group to attack, because getting defeated under the effects of the super will not drop any collectibles that puts his team in a losing situation. Make sure to take note of the duration of his super when using this strategy. But okay, that's gonna be it for his super. Let's gonna talk about his gadgets now, but the first one I want to talk about is called Double Sausage. Activating this gadget allows Doug's next attack to heal twice as much, but it won't deal damage. His super will also be charged twice as much. Now, the great thing about this gadget is that it makes Doug an even better support brawler. The fact that your next main attack will heal twice as much as your normal attack, this will technically save you a bar of ammo. Instead of you using 2 bars of ammo to heal up your teammate, you can just use this gadget and do that same amount of healing with 1 attack. That way, you'll have more ammo to use against the enemies, so you can try and pressure them back or get them down. Now, when using this gadget, I try to recommend to people using it onto multiple teammates if you can. Just to make the most out of this gadget, I would recommend trying to use this gadget onto both of your teammates if possible. This will get you the most amount of value out of it, and you might as well do that because you have to wait another 15 seconds before you can use it again. Now, a time where I'd recommend you actually use this gadget is when you're playing in control-oriented game modes. I would recommend using this gadget in game modes like Gem Grab and Hot Zone, because these game modes is all about maintaining control of the map and the objective as long as possible. Using this gadget will allow you to easily support your teammates and keep them alive, just making you an even more efficient healer. Especially since there will be a higher chance you and your teammates will be all grouped up together, you might as well just run this gadget so you can heal everybody up again. Now, if you're not playing in Hot Zone or Gem Grab, you can even use this gadget when you're playing with 2 tanks or 2 assassins. With this gadget healing double the amount as a normal main attack, this will be the most helpful when paired with high health brawlers like tanks and assassins. This will allow your teammates to continue their aggression, especially since healer double tank comms has been a strong strategy for years now and is pretty damn good with how strong Doug is now. But okay, that's gonna be for Doug's first gadget. Let's gonna talk about his second gadget, Extra Mustard. Activating this gadget allows Doug's next attack to deal double the damage, but it won't heal allies. His super will also be charged twice as much. Now, I personally love this gadget and can't play Doug without it because it helps me win so many more engagements. Doug at max level will deal 2400 damage per main attack, which isn't too bad, and when multiplied by 3, that is 7200 damage per 3 bars of ammo. When you can use this gadget, that allows your new damage output to be 9600, which is a huge difference. This will allow you to win so much more engagements and basically 3-shot any brawler that has 9600 health or less. Now, what's also pretty good about this gadget is you can use it to catch so many enemies off guard for a kill. If you could camp inside of a bush and activate this gadget, the enemy is going to be totally caught off guard and probably have no shot at taking you down before you take them down. This gadget makes Doug such a great brawler that definitely makes him more versatile and not only a very good support brawler. Now, just like we're using Double Sausage onto multiple brawlers, you want to also be using Extra Mustard onto multiple brawlers as well. Just like with everything I've preached throughout this video, it'll be lethal to deal that 9600 damage with 3 bars of ammo onto multiple opponents, right? I mean, this will make life easier for your teammates and easily help you charge up your next super in no time if you don't already have it. Getting value is a key strategy inside of Brawl Stars, and the sooner you understand this, the better your skill set will be. Now, amongst the pro scene, when you're seeing a lot of them use Doug, this is definitely going to be the better and safer option to use when playing Doug. Since this gadget will probably save your life more times than you can count, you definitely need to be using this gadget over Double Sausage. You'll be finding yourself in more situations where you'll be needing to deal more damage, then heal more health for your teammates. But okay, that's going to be it for Doug's gadgets. Let's go and talk about his star powers now, but the first one I want to talk about is called Fast Food. With this star power, when Doug's allies respawn with his super, Doug heals for 100% of his maximum health. Now, this star power is great to make not only Doug very hard to take down, but his entire team tougher to get down. Since you can not only provide your teammate with your super to keep them alive after they die, you're going to also be healing back up to full after you revive your teammate. That is going to be great when you and your teammates have the enemies on the ropes and can push them back even more to regain control of the map. Now, personally, I don't find this star power to be that good because in order for it to be effective, you need your teammates to respawn with it first. Most of the time, you'll probably face players that purposely won't kill your teammates because they don't want them to respawn after they are taken down. If your teammate doesn't respawn using your super, you aren't going to be getting any value from this star power, thus making it kinda useless. Also, this star power is not going to really be that useful unless Doug himself is on a low amount of health. Another minor flaw to this star power is that it's only good if Doug is low and about to die. Even if your teammate dies and respawns successfully, but let's say Doug is at full health or almost full health, he's going to be really utilizing the star power to its maximum potential, which is kind of a waste. But okay, that's going to be for Doug's first star power. Let's go and talk about his second star power, self-service. Whenever Doug uses his main attack, he heals for 20% of the damage to the enemies. The healing occurs even if Doug doesn't hit anyone with the attack. This star power doesn't stack with other damage boosts such as 8-bits and Bell's supers, and it doesn't stack with his double sausage gadget. Now 99% of the time, this is going to be the safer and better star power to use whenever you're playing Doug. Since this star power will guarantee you value every time you use your main attacks on the enemies, it already makes it better than Doug's fast food star power. Even though it's only 20% of the damage you deal to the enemies, that's better than not healing at all, and it can definitely keep you alive in a tight fight. Now, as I talked about in the very beginning of the video, this star power pairs very well with Doug's new trait. Self-service will allow Doug to heal every time he deals damage, which will not only help him stay alive longer, but he will be increasing his supercharge rate as well. This is just another reason why self-service is such a great star power for Doug, mostly because of the addition of his new trait and how well it synergizes with this star power. Now, if you struggle staying alive and the enemies outrange you, I mean, this star power is going to help you stay alive because of the self heals. What's pretty interesting is that even though you aren't hitting the enemies and dealing damage onto them, you can literally attack nothing and still heal 480 health for each main attack at max level. That's 1440 guaranteed health you can instantly gain back if you are flirting with death, and could make a difference maker to staying alive or going down. But okay, that's going to be it for his star powers. Let's go ahead and talk about Doug's brand new Hypercharge free toppings. When activated after Doug uses his super on a friendly brawler, said friendly brawler will use Doug's attack every time he uses his attack. However, if Doug uses the super on himself, he does not have two attacks at the same time. He also gains a 25% speed boost, a 25% damage boost, as well as a 5% shield boost. Now I'm gonna be honest here, this Hypercharge is the only reason why I'm making this guide in the first place, and it's the whole reason why Doug is now in the S tier. Of course, Doug's new trait and his super homing in on teammates is good buffs to Doug's kit, but without a doubt, the Hypercharge has helped Doug out drastically. Doug is finally no longer the worst brawler in the game and went from the S tier to the S tier. The Hypercharge is so strong and not only helps Doug, but his teammates as well. Now, it's pretty disgusting is that whoever Doug uses his Hypercharge super onto, I mean, that brawler is going to be an absolute menace to deal with. Whoever Doug uses his super onto is going to turn into an unstoppable force. Not only are they going to be able to use their own attacks, but they will be able to surround themselves with Doug's attack every time Doug attacks, which is just totally disgusting. And of course, you can't forget about the Hypercharge stat buffs that Doug will receive, and it's going to make him and his entire team even scarier to take down. I mean, even though his Hypercharge doesn't really do anything for Doug himself, you can't go wrong with the stat buffs that he receives from the Hypercharge. Doug can use that opportunity to try and cycle up another super, or just go ham onto the enemy team with the help of whoever has Doug's Hypercharge on them. But okay, the recommended build I suggest you guys use with Doug is using the extra mustard gadget, the self-service star power. The first gear I'm going to recommend is going to be the damage gear. I definitely recommend the damage gear because when Doug drops below that certain threshold and he can do more damage, hey, that's going to only help him out that much more. And then finally, I do recommend going with the shield gear. He already has 10,000 health, but getting him to 10,900, it can definitely make a huge difference in whether you stay alive or whether you go down. Well, anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that video, I highly recommend you go check out this video right here.